In this example video, we're going to look at brief exercise 625, and we're going to put together what we call a physical flow schedule. So it tells us that our company just finished its second month of operations, and they mass produce integrated circuits. So the following production information is provided in December. So when they opened their doors on December 1st, they had 160,000 units that were in process. They were 80% complete, so they were 80% down that assembly line, if you think of it that way. At the end, they completed and transferred out of this department to the next department 760,000 units. So they finished whatever they had to do in this department. They finished that work on 760,000 units, and they transferred it to the next department. And at the end of December, they had 120,000 units that were still in process in this department, and they were about 60% down on the assembly line. So they want us to prepare a physical flow schedule based on this information. So basically what we're looking at is looking at how many units do I have to account for the whereabouts of, and then how am I doing that? So we have units that were in our beginning work in process. We had 160,000 units that were started in the previous month. So they were started in November, and we're hopefully going to complete those typically in December. And then we want to look at how many units did we actually start production on in December. So we know that the units completed and transferred out, those 760,000 units, are going to include those beginning work in process units. It makes sense that if we have 160,000 units that are already 80% completed, we're going to finish that other 20% before we start making some new products. So that 760,000 that we have in our units that were completed and transferred out, we need to subtract away the 160,000 that were started in the previous month that we're going to be finishing this month, because we're looking at units that were just started in December. We also started 120,000 units that were started in the month of December but have not been completed in the month of December. We got them 60% completed. So that means in total we have 720,000 units that we started in December. Some of them were completed, some of them are still in process. So that means in total we have to account for 880,000 units. We need to figure out where those 880,000 units are kind of flowing to. So the first thing that we're going to look at are units that were completed and transferred out. So we need to look at units that were both started and completed in the month of December, and then the units that were completed from beginning work in process. So we know that we had 160,000 units in beginning work in process that were already 80% completed, and our assumption is if there's something that's already in process when we open our doors, we're going to complete those first before we ever complete any new items. In total, we had 760,000 units that were completed and transferred out. And we know 160,000 of those are from the ones that were started last month that we're completing this month. So that must mean that we've started and completed in the month of December 600,000 units. So we started those 600,000 units from scratch on, let's say, December 5th, and they were completed by the end of the month. So that means in total, we have accounted for those 760,000 units that were completed and transferred out. We know that a smaller portion, 160,000 of them, were from beginning work in process. The vast majority, 600,000 of them, we started this month and completed this month. Units that were in ending work in process. So again, we have 120,000 units that we started in the month of December but have not completed in the month of December. And we've now accounted for where are those units. So we have accounted for those 880,000 units. 760,000 completed and transferred out, made up of two components, some from beginning work in process, some that were both started and completed this period, and the remaining units are what we still have in process at the end of the month.